Alden is in Rhode Island with Gresh and Fourier. Hello, Alden.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you this morning?
Good.
All right, so I got a couple things. One, I would ask, Kirk Cousins? I mean, I don't understand. The man's not a winner. He doesn't win. I feel like he's just Mac Jones as an older version. I don't want that. I'm up against it here myself, gentlemen, so I got to get off this phone. But the last thing when I hang up, I'm going to ask you would be, why not Calamari, as you call him? Why not Kyler Murray? Is that not where the NFL is going? We need a mobile, active quarterback that's out there with an arm that can. I know he's a bit undersized, but why not? Why is that not a good fit?
Because he doesn't work hard. He doesn't listen. This is a guy where an organization tried to sign this dude where they wanted to put language in the deal as to how much he had to work at being a quarterback. So here's the thing with Kyler Murray, okay? The Arizona Cardinals at one point in time, Fourier, decided, hey, we took Josh Rosen with the 10th pick and we hired a guy that was terrible as head coach. So we're gonna stink. We're gonna blow all those people out. We're going to take the number 1 pick. We're going to do this with Kyler Murray. We're going to go get him, arguably at one point in time, 4 number 1 receivers, if not a 1, a 2, and a 3, that people, it's inarguable what they loaded the guy with when it came to wide receivers. And he got his coach in Cliff Kingsbury. And in 2.5 years, Kingsbury is gone. The organization got ripped for trying to sign the guy to an extension where they had to put in there about how much he had to study. Apparently he's healthy and they won't activate him out there now. And we're supposed to look at that guy and say that this little dude at 5'9", who can throw the ball pretty well, is going to be the guy that is going to come in here and be the dude that is going to set the tone in some way for the franchise? Hell no.
I am curious.
I gotta take on his massive contract.
I wonder, there is part of me, though, that is the whole, man, what would it look like? Because the New England fans have never had a quarterback that had some of those traits. They've never had a quarterback. They've always drafted the same type of guy, brought in the same type of guy as a free agent. There's never been this world-class runner, athlete-type guy that can extend plays and really threaten you downfield with his legs. Like it's a real option. They've never really ran an RPO, where the quarterback is a legitimate threat. I mean, people will point to the Jacoby Brissett when he played against the Bills, and that was a waggle. That wasn't an RPO.
Right. That was a kind of play action. Yeah,
that was a bootleg, and they just completely screwed it up. I am curious about it. Because I've never seen it before, I wondered what Bill would do with that. Like, what would Bill O'Brien do with that? And then I sit there and go, well, okay, eventually a team's going to not allow you to run, and you're going to have to make the right decision. You're going to have to actually throw the ball. And I would say that most GMs or scouts, the same way they look at Baker Mayfield and Johnny Manziel and I would say Kyler Murray, they're short. They can't see. People don't mention that as much anymore about how height is important as a quarterback because there's been some guys that have kind of broken that mold.
Breeze debunked it a little bit, but on the whole, normally if you're under 6 foot, like even Russell Wilson, I think is 5'11", maybe 6
No,
feet.
he broke the mold. He was another guy, but very unique.
But he was also a pocket passer too. That's the thing about
and
Russell
so was
Wilson.
Drew.
Yeah.
He was not a runner, but at least with Russell Wilson, he had the ability to kind of escape, and he had an uncanny ability to do that. But ultimately, you're looking for the 6'2" and above, 6'3", hopefully. Hey, all those other like the Trevor Lawrences, they're all huge. They're monsters.
Why did Anthony Richardson get drafted so high? Because of the measurables. He's 6'4" and 240 pounds, and a lot of people sign up for that.
Upside, massive upside with him. Look at this. If we could take this guy and put him in our system, we'll teach him. We'll slow it down. And wow, what a weapon he could be if he could figure out the rest of the stuff. So I like the Kyler Murray thing. I just think he's a dope, though. I think if he had a better attitude, he was a better football player.
It's the attitude piece of it,
I think he's a dope. Yeah. I think he's more worried about these stupid video games and the fact that the Arizona Cardinals of all organizations had that clause in there, and then they actually took it out because he bitched and complained about it. Remember, he was like, "Oh, I can't believe you're embarrassing me." Yeah, because you play video games, and they can monitor. Like my son has this.
Yep.
Okay. Like they monitor how much film you watch. You log on to the computer, it starts a running tally of how much film you watch. Now you can easily give it to your friend and be like, "Go ahead, watch. Just press play." Okay, but then it's just kind of stupid. But they monitor how much film you watch. He obviously wasn't watching anything.
Yeah, it's pretty evident, and that's not going to fly in a lot of places. And he's not so overwhelmingly talented that he can get away with that. You know what I mean? Like, at one point in time, I bet you Cam Newton was so talented he could get away with not being the best at film study because he was 6'4" and 250 and could run it. And you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Whereas I feel like with guys like Kyler Murray, now people like Kyler Murray are actually going to hurt the next generation of those kind of shorter 5'9"-ish type quarterbacks, where now it's going to be like, it didn't work with them. And you know
Bryce
what?
Young was just taken first overall, and he's barely 6 feet.
Well, but Bryce Young is also a true pocket quarterback. If you look at him, he can move, but what did Bryce Young do at Alabama? Stood in the pocket, stood tall. Yeah, he can run, but he really can throw it. Like, again, I go back to Andy Reid with Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb was an athlete playing quarterback at Syracuse, and he was great at it. He forced him to be a quarterback. And I think with some of those guys, you have to force them to kind of be a pro. Let's put it that way. And a lot of that is, as you talked about, Christian, operating from the pocket. It's the pros here. We wear caps and sleeves at this level, son.
We dress up on road trips.
Al in New Bedford with Gresh and Fourier. Hello, Al.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, gentlemen. Yeah, Gresh, you was talking about Mark Jackson ain't won nothing. He's been there for a while. Why would you want to bring Cousins? He's never won nothing.
Well,
so you're contradicting yourself.
Well, here's the thing. Number one, Kirk Cousins is available. Number two, there has been it has been shown that for guys like Cousins, if you want to look at Kirk Cousins the same way you do a Matthew Stafford, in that, oh no, that guy's good, it's the situation, then you apply the same thing with Kirk Cousins that you did with a guy like a Matthew Stafford. And you can only work with what is available to you.
Stafford.
What's that?
He's not Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a way better quarterback than he is. He's a way better quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not.
He was good at Georgia. He was good at Detroit.
He was also
have nothing around him.
He was also incredibly inconsistent in the pros. Ultimately settled down, battled through a bunch of like one-win teams at times. He was also partnered with one of the greatest wide receivers who ever lived, and at times won 2 or 3 games. And if it's all about quarterback and wide receiver, are you telling me that 10 years ago the game was so different that didn't matter? You had Megatron on the outside and you still couldn't win? Or put like I think you've overrated Stafford, Al, in part because of what happened with him in L.A. He was one of those guys where you looked at him and said, no, that dude's better than his environment. And if you're Bill Belichick, is that what you do with, say, someone like a Kirk Cousins? Look, how about this? You like that? Here's what it is. And, Christian, let me just put this out there.
Okay.
Because, Al, I rail on guys like Kirk Cousins and stuff like that. If you got the guy that is a guaranteed winner, 617-779-7937, give me the guy. Give me the guy. Give me the guaranteed winner. Give me the guaranteed young that's a winner. There aren't any. And that's a part of the point of all of this. That's what we're all struggling with. Everybody's like, well, the answer isn't perfect. All right, what's yours? I'm at least rolling something out there where Kirk Cousins is saying, hey, little change of environment, put him with a better coach who has struggled offensively and all that kind of stuff, and there are good people here. All right. Kyler Murray? Nope, he ain't the answer. Cousins? Tannehill? Whatever. Okay, you want Mack again? Nope, you're going to bitch about that. All right, you want to overdraft Michael Penix with the number 5 pick, and we're just taking somebody because, it's hope. I'll get the T-shirt with hope on it once again. Here we go. We're just going to overdraft. That's the thing. This is a complex problem that does not have an easy solution. And yeah, there are going to be hypocrisies in the way we break this down because none of these people are a perfect fit. And if you're going to sit here and say you're going to get Caleb Williams, then you have to hope other people in the league are worse than you. You have to assume that other people, you're going to be worse than other people in the league, and that's another thing you can't assume. Your plan can't start with, well, we're just going to go draft Caleb Williams. Well, how are you going to get there? Because there are other teams that are trying to get there too that want it just as bad and are more willing to suck.
The Caleb Williams thing it's taken a turn, hasn't it? The actual, I call it the Q rating, the Caleb Williams Q rating. There's been some little hints and signs of some douchiness that exists with him and what you would inherit if you grabbed him, from the comments about his dad and the amount of money that he already makes, and he wants ownership of a team, and then he's bawling on the sideline after the Washington loss.
I want to go home and cuddle with my dog and watch some shows.
And there is some at first, I don't know how you feel about this, Gresh, but there's an aspect of that where I'm like, all right, listen, sometimes as a football player, you can't control your emotions. Sometimes you have no control over it. But does somebody's crying change the way you view them or what there be? Is that like a red flag? The whole thing with the dog, and I just want to snuggle up. Like, can he be coached really hard? Can he be coached? Like, obviously things are not going well for them. Mm-hmm. They may not make a bowl game. Their schedule is still crazy tough. I think they only have 4 or 5 wins. They still need 6 wins for a bowl, which he probably won't even play in. But I tell you what, like, the more you kind of see this guy play, you see it when it's really tough for him. You start going, that's going to be the number 1 pick.
USC is 7-3 right now, so
so they're 2 over. Okay,
that's right. Good. So they're just bowl eligible, and someone in the Twitch chat is doing the, hey, Matt Stafford averaged 8 wins a year in Detroit over the course of his run. So here were the years: 2 wins, 1 win where he got hurt, 10, 4. 7-11, 7-9-9, 6, 3-4-1, 5 wins, and then went to LA and won the very first year that he went out there. So that's the kind of guy that you looked at and said, oh no, he can play better than the environment that he's in. That's the whole point of bringing that up.